My story is called Tree Hugger. To me, Reggie, living in South America, has its advantages and disadvantages. Of course, there's lots of beautiful nature and things, except for those disgusting beetles, but there are no malls or nice restaurants. You see, I'm 11 and live in a small town in southern South America. Ever since 3 years ago when I visited my cousin Paul, who lives in California, I have wanted to move. Our house is not very big since Dad's business requires us to live here in a very wooded part of the forest. He's trying to save different rare species of trees from dying out. I call him a tree hugger. California is great with the beaches, mountains, people, and, well, everything. My parents don't want us to move, which is not so good for me. Though I might have a way to convince them, they're going to let us all take a 5-day trip to California, and I'm really excited. I've done a lot of planning, okay, a little planning, and I'm going to show them how awesome California is. Maybe that will show them how we should move out of our little house. A few days later, we packed up our stuff and were off 5 hours later. The plane ride was really long. It felt like we were riding a sloth that had to walk 100 miles. I brought a bunch of books and card games and stuff, but come on, how long can you take it? The plane ride took us the whole day. Finally, Paul picked us up from the massive airport. He's 21, so of course he has his own car and house. The rest of the night was fun. He went out to eat and played Monopoly afterwards. I was very happy to see him and had a restful night. When I woke up the next day, Mom and Dad said we were all going to take a bike ride through the city. "This is gonna rock," I exclaimed. It was a beautiful day, the sky as blue as the coast. The sun as bright as the sparkling reflection off the water. The grass as green as, something underwater. I think you get the idea, I really like to swim. On the bike ride, we saw lots of fun and interesting things. One of them, two teenagers holding spray paint cans. I realized they were painting graffiti on the wall. Dad called after them, but they ran away at first sight. Paul muttered under his breath. I was in disbelief. Why would someone do something like that, I asked. Mom, Dad, or Paul couldn't answer me. The next day, Paul said it was beach day, my favorite. I can't wait, I exclaimed. 20 minutes later, we were there. Come on, Paul, I yelled, let's go wave surfing. Wave surfing is something Paul taught me the first time I saw him. We glide at just the right moment on the waves, on our stomachs. It's really fun. About a couple hours later, we started to walk down the shore. Farther down, there was a group of young people having a party. The music was way too loud and trash was everywhere. As I walked a bit closer, I spotted the same teenagers from the alleyway. I quickly ran back. Let me tell you, Mom and Dad were a little scared. They had actually considered renting an apartment here for a few months to try it out, but seeing those teenagers had got them to thinking that if we really moved here, maybe others would bother me. I tried to convince them, but I could tell my words weren't sinking in. To get our minds off it, Paul suggested we look at some of the nice shops in town that evening. We all agreed. That night as we drove to the souvenir shop, all around us was a ruckus. It sounded like 100 cats all yowling at the same time. Then I realized that they were alarm bells. We slowed down, and two awfully familiar boys were running from a flashing building holding a sack. With a firm expression on her face, Mom drove home. The next couple of days, I felt sadder and glummer every day. I assumed it was because I knew Mom would never allow us to move. The day came when I said goodbye to Paul. As we flew home, I slept, read, and slept some more. When I woke up, I felt totally refreshed, but still glum. As we entered our small airport, a weight in my chest lifted a little. A few hours later, when we got home, I felt free of the sadness inside me. I heard the familiar bird calls, the rush of a nearby stream, the swaying of the tall trees, and suddenly, I felt happy. I realized that I didn't want to move to the U.S. I just wanted a little bit of a change. Now I saw why Mom and Dad didn't want to move. I loved my home and everything with it. We're tree huggers. We love all nature, including the beetles.